this same video, if you click on JH down there next to my icon, whatever, you'll see all my videos, and you'll see the same video without sound, which I think stands, but I don't know. Back up everything. Deleting the wrong file with the Finder can cause problems and lost data, forever lost data even. So that's the Finder down there. Most programs tap into the Finder. They use it when you go to save a file. And so you've already seen Finder windows, and I don't know what level user you are, so, you know, for what it's worth. Here's Word, which is totally non-Apple, but you'll see even here, I'll create a document, and when I go to save it, it taps into Apple's operating system, into the Finder, which I think is really part of the Mac operating system. You can't quit the Finder, it's always running. So I say save here in Word, and boom. There's a Finder window with all my annotations. The favorites column you can customize, which I have, so don't be surprised if you don't have a lot of those, but you will probably have documents, applications, pictures, the basic ones, and you name it and say save. Now I'm going to use Apple's program as an example, Numbers, their spreadsheet program. Click a blank file, enter something into the spreadsheet, and go to save it under File. I click File, there's all those file type options. I say Save, there's a Finder window, and oh yeah, I'd saved the movies before for some reason, so I can change that here. Say, no, I want to put this in Documents. I click on the Documents on the left, number 1, and number 2 just points out, look, you know, the heading where it's going changed. That's where you are. That's what that box is. And save. Yeah. So let's, you know, I'm going to do some things here because you can't really talk about the Finder without doing something, you know. I'm not going to do syncing. That's not a Finder option anyway, really. But here are some ways you can share files. And I think share is a real good option, and it's built in the program, so you don't have to use the Finder to use share. Say File, Share. It's usually under the File menu, not always. Or it's on the menu bar as one of those icons I showed. In a typical Apple program, you'll see things you can share to on the far right submenu there, and you can add to that and subtract. In Microsoft Word, it doesn't have all those options. I'm not sure why, because it's so non-Apple. It's Microsoft, I guess. But you can send to mail, which is the same as saying mail in the other programs. And it opens your mail program. It attaches the file that you were in, and you just address it to whoever you want to send it. All right. So, yeah, good basic is first save your file to your hard drive, probably your documents folder, unless you have another folder you want to use. Now I'm going to save it to a thumb drive to take it somewhere. A copy of it. I'm going to still leave the good one, the original, on the hard drive. But if I've already saved it to the hard drive and I say save, it'll just save it to the same place, Documents. But if I say save as, you'll see the save as option. You can pick a different location. But it'll remember that location, so next time you want to save to your hard drive, say Save As again and go back to Documents. Click down File and hold the Option key. When you hold Option, you'll see the Save As option on the menu. All right. There. So then you'll get a Finder window, and you can pick a different location to save it to. I'm going to pick thumb drive here on the left, and I'll use the same name. And then I'll click Save. Okay, or you could just, instead of using the Finder to save as within your Word program or some application, just launch the Finder. If you already have the file saved somewhere, in Documents in this case, I'll open the Finder, click on Documents on the left, and there's the file. Might not be right at the top, but it is here. Okay, I could just drag that file from the documents folder on the hard drive right down to the thumb drive on the left there. And the Mac's smart enough to know, the Finder's smart enough to know I want to copy it there. Not move it, but copy it because it's a different drive. Or I could open a different Finder window, open the thumb drive in that Finder window, and this is kind of the long way, and then drag it from the documents folder to the Finder window. 2 different Finder windows, good for copying files back and forth. Or I could have just copied it to the thumb drive like in the first example. Okay, yeah. Here's another example of copying files. You can hold down the Command key and select files without them necessarily being in a row on the list. You just keep the Command key down. Then you grab any one of those, drag it to the thumb drive. The trick is to get your arrow right on the thumb drive. Don't worry about the 3 shadows of files that follow. Just your black arrow right on the thumb drive. Okay, click on the list box, and there's 4 ways to view files, basically. And there's where that arrow is. I'm in list mode. And I like list mode best myself because I can click on the headings, and I can add headings by clicking on that sprocket in number 1, and then you'll get the window on the right, and you can choose other headings for your files that you can sort by when you click it. So whatever's checked, you'll see in your list, and not. So let's say I wanted to copy all my PDFs out of my documents folder to its own PDF folder. I'll create a new folder, name it PDFs, and then click on kind while I'm in the documents folder, and they'll all be grouped by what kind they are, or extension, PDF, that's the kind. Now I'm going to create a new folder under Finder and name it PDF. Let's say I didn't already do it, and name it PDF. Okay, now that they're all grouped together, it's real easy to select them all using the Shift key and click the first and click the last while you're holding Shift. And then you can drag all those highlighted PDFs over to the other Finder window, which is open to the PDF folder. And bingo, they get moved. They don't get copied, they get moved if the folder is on the same hard drive. If you created it on a different hard drive, it would copy them and leave it in both places. Yeah. Okay, get the idea. It's really handy. It doesn't matter what program you're in, I don't think. And you'll just get a search window, and you hit those 3 keys, and you can hold them down in any order. Just hold them all together. Command, Option, Space. They're right next to each other. Here I click Dogs. I'm in the Documents folder, and I highlighted what the results were, and they all. I don't know what ZenMind is doing there. I'm sure there's a good reason, but basically it's dogs. Okay, maybe Dogma or something was in there. I don't know. Okay. All right, when you do that, now we're looking at a criteria bar, let's call it. And you can drop these menus down and pick different criteria and then fill in the blank. I'm not sure where the file I want is, so I'm going to say this Mac, which means all your hard drives. Okay, I'm going to say name matches to. Well, that didn't do too well. So instead of match, I'm going to say, actually, I don't know why I'm showing file name here. I left it at name, although file name would have done just fine. And instead of matches, I'm going to say contains. That way, it's a partial search of file names. If anywhere in the file name it says toot, we'll get it. In theory. All right, and bingo, that's what this resulted in. You can see they all have toot in there somewhere. Yeah, there's 4 basic ways to view your files in Finder. Along the top there, on the far left is icon view, and you see all the icons of the files in the documents folder. This is called column view. It's hierarchical, meaning I click on a folder on the left, I see that folder's contents on the right. If it has folders, I can click on those folders and see their contents to the right column again, and so on. It goes deep layers, as many as you have. Here I sorted on size. I like list view. This is my favorite view. And this is called cover flow. When you highlight a file, it shows a little thumbnail or snapshot of what's in the file if it can get something. It doesn't always. For certain situations, it comes in handy. Yeah, brainwashing, sorry. All right, let's search music. Click on the music folder on the left is one way. And I could sort it by size or date modified, stuff like that. And I'm searching the music folder. I know there's Jethro Tull in here. It gives me all the Tull in here. So let's narrow it down. I'm looking for Life's a Long Song. So I'm going to say that the name contains the word slow typer long. And there it is, Life's a Long Song. And I can even start it up here by saying open it, it'll launch iTunes and play the song. Big deal. Oh, yeah, good idea. All right, let's search photos. I'm going to go over my favorites column again, which is customizable. I have lots of folders I'm sure nobody else has, but we probably all have documents and pictures, music. I'm going to click on pictures. I'm going to say search all my hard drives. John's MacBook Pro, I clicked on under devices there. You can see my external hard drives and internal hard drives. Kind image. So instead of just looking in a photos folder or something, I'm going to say look for all images, JPEG, TIFF, PNG, any kind of image on all my hard drives, and that's quite a few. You can see the scroll bar is kind of small down there. So I'm going to narrow the search a bit, and you go up to this plus sign, which means add more criteria. So you can have criteria within criteria within criteria. I'm going to say name contains Annie. I'm looking for Annie's pictures. Okay, give it a minute to look. And for some reason, it's not listing them. I don't know. I did something wrong. You normally see the list. I'll click on list. There it is. All my Annie pictures. And I'll go back to cover flow view again. Oh, okay. It's listed, and I can see them as I highlight them. That's Annie. The best dog. All right. Press down those keys for another search. Ignore that behind the curtain guy. All right. Let's pick some search criteria. I click on the plus, search in this Mac. I want a file that has part of the file, like inside the file itself, I wrote something. Not the file name, but contains it within the file. Yeah. Contains a date, because I'm really looking for a resume, and I know that's one of my start and job dates, probably the same year in both cases. All right, but that's too many, so I'm going to click plus and narrow it down. Oh, well, that's dumb. File name contains. Now we're looking to file name, not what's within the file, but the actual file name. Res, I'm sure I used at least res, if not resume complete. And okay, narrowed it down. You can see the scroll bar on the right is longer, so there's not as many files in the list. But let's narrow it down some more. Another criteria. I know that it's the PDF I'm looking for, and I didn't do that too often with my resumes. Well, more often than I thought. Okay. Well, I know I looked at this within the past year. So here's another criteria on top of those, or within those. Last open within, and I'll click on years and type 1. Boom. Got to be one of those. And I'm just using the different view bar up here again as a kind of refresher what they look like. But it didn't change my search results, just how we view the files. You can also remove criteria if for some reason I wanted to go back to those longer lists. I can click the minus sign, and you'll get whatever is left searches for. You can add to these criteria, like file name, date, and all that, by clicking on that other under the menu. And then you'll get this list. If you check it off, it'll add it to your list to be readily accessible under the drop-down. So you'll see the ones that are already checked that I've been using. I'm going to go ahead here and you can also remove them by unchecking them. And I'm going to add a couple more to the available drop-down. Those 3, let's say. All right. Might be able to use those in a search. A lot of these I don't even know what they mean. So I say OK and look at my list. And nice. Longer list, more options. I can search by different criteria now if I wish. Here I'm going to say file size is greater than 100 megs. And I don't know why I'm in column view. Probably list view would be best for this. Maybe if I wanted to look within folders, this would be all right. But I'm going to change it to 500 megs because I'm getting too many files here. And I just want to get rid of some big files that are redundant, make some room. Make sure you're backed up first. Okay, 500 megs. And you can see they're mostly movie files, which are kind of big. You know, home movies and MP4, M4V files, applications, big files. And I'm kind of scrolling down here. Again, the best view would be list, which I think I switch over to here. Yeah, same files, different view. Now I can click on the headings to sort them by size, by kind, whatever. And it's grouped by applications. Probably don't want to mess with those. See if I have any redundant large documents I might want to get rid of. It's handy for cleanup, but you got it. This is the most dangerous kind of thing. People delete the wrong files, so be careful. You probably know you can drag the column headers to make them wider so you can read the whole thing if it was chopped off. I think there's one more kind of search I do here, maybe a couple. Okay, yeah, the file was added. Kind of saw that with the resume, but all right, let's do a new search. I'm just kind of showing here. You click on the favorites folders, and you'll see the contents on the right. Let's get into flag labels for a minute. You might have noticed there's these colored labels you can add your file names in the Finder. Let's say I added red to ones that I thought were most important. I'm going to search. I searched music. There were no files labeled red. I searched the whole Mac, and boom, there's a whole bunch of them. And I'm not going to go into it a lot here, but you can imagine how useful that might be. And that's the end of part 1. Okay, that's about it. And now the fun begins.